Hello and welcome to Solent Sports News, our first ever remote show. I'm Leanne Goodall and this is your 4:30pm Sports Fix. The long-awaited return of sport to the UK could be closer than we think. This comes after an announcement from Prime Minister Boris Johnson on Sunday evening. However, the return of sport does come with restrictions and guidelines. Doug Webber explains more.
It is now almost 2 months since the people of this country began to put up with restrictions on their freedom.
On Sunday night, a nation of sports enthusiasts were perched in front of their TVs, hoping for a return of anything sport-related.
You can sit in the sun in your local park.
And then the moment came.
You can even play sports, only with members of your own household.
The government's decision isn't without certain caveats attached. So what does this relaxing of the rules mean for recreational sport?
We do want people to play more sport, and let me give you one example of something you can do. Two people from the same home could go and play tennis. You couldn't then go into the clubhouse and mill around where you would be within 2 metres of other people.
However, for those of us hoping for a kickabout at the park,
football would be one of those where I think it would be very difficult to stay 2 metres apart if you're playing 11 aside or even 5 aside.
So based on the vague details surrounding the return of sport, here are the guidelines that come into force on Wednesday. You can take part in sport, and if anything, the Prime Minister is openly encouraging it. However, it must be with people from your household, and it must adhere to social distancing, including the 2-metre rule. One of the sports affected by this ruling will be golf. Earlier, I spoke to Ashley Harris, one of the top 60 disabled golfers in the world, about this decision.
My initial reaction to being able to go outside and play golf was positive. However, looking at the rules and regulations that they put in place, I feel it's maybe a little bit too early to actually open golf courses. I think this is going to be a very difficult period in terms of actually getting this right.
So, to clarify, people are allowed to take part in sport and are now permitted to exercise outside as much as they wish. But despite these newly relaxed lockdown guidelines, we still find ourselves some way off from a full return to sporting normality. Doug Webber, Solent Sports News, at home in Andover.
And in fact, in the last few minutes, the government have amended the guidelines further to say that golf can now be played with a maximum of one person who is not from your household. Greece, Portugal and Spain are all beginning to come out of lockdown. So we're taking a look at what professional sports are preparing to get underway and the amateur sports that people are about to begin to do. So that was the latest news in the UK here today. But let's go and see what's going on in Europe. So we have correspondents in Portugal, Spain and Greece today. First off, we're going to go to Anna in Portugal. Hello, Anna.
So here in Portugal, we do have some good news on sports. However, it's still like the competition side of sports here in Portugal is still in standby like in other countries. However, we do have some good news regarding football. So we are hoping to have the competitions restarting on May 30th. And that is just for the first division. This situation has led to some controversy. That is because no other teams besides the ones in the first league, the other ones are not allowed to go back to official trainings or competitions. However, the problem is that lately, some athletes from at least 4 of these teams were diagnosed with COVID-19. So these dates are still and yet to be confirmed. Regarding other sports, so anything that has to deal with water, so water sports like surfing and bodyboarding are now allowed. So as people can go back to the beach just for sports activities, that is now allowed. Also on cycling, we do have some good news as well. So before this state of emergency came to an end, professional cyclists were only allowed to practice on their own. They were never prohibited from going outside, but now they can start practicing with their teams with a maximum of 5 cyclists per group. So yeah, that's some good news for sports. We are slowly going back to normal, as I said, and hopefully we'll have some more good news soon.
Thank you, Anna. And how is the mood generally in the country? Because obviously you've got some small developments, but you've also got people who have got COVID-19 who usually play sports. So is there a general feel for whether this is good progress or not?
This progress in sports is very, very important for everyone. Of course, yeah, as I said, everything is really in standby. So people are still afraid to go to this to do some sports, and especially the athletes as well. And in football, for example, as I said, if these games really do start on May 30th, it is already there has been already like communication from the teams and other entities saying that 48 hours before each game, athletes are all going to be tested for COVID-19, and they will be tested again then 3 hours prior to the games. So people are still scared of this whole situation. But yeah, as I said, hopefully going back to normal as fast as we can.
And now we will go to Spain, to our reporter Luis, who is going to give us a little update. So Luis, how are things in Spain?
Everything is going step by step after 2 months, nearly 2 months. Now we are allowed to train by ourselves, like running or cycling in the streets. The sport in general was a really big problem for the Spanish society. I think so. The most important thing is about football, the minor sport. From since the last week, all the first and the second division players are allowed to be tasted and start to train in the fields of the clubs. The thing is, like, since the 19th of May, they are going to be allowed to train together, not as individual players. For the rest of the things, I think the people can, like a society, we can train by ourselves on the streets. We can do surf if we have the opportunity to go to the sea, and obviously cycling. Just moving on our region. This thing is a problem because all the rest of the sports, the professional ones, basket, cycling, swimming, are angry because why football and not the rest of the sports? The thing is because the sport is the motor of the one of the four parts of the economy in Spain that moves a lot of jobs, moves a lot of money around the government, and obviously the rights of the television can help the rest of the sports, like the Olympic Games, like Olympic athletes or just another teams to go on and have more opportunities to start to earn money, not being like fired.
So football then is clearly being used as something to help try and get the economy going again in Spain.
It moves 1.3% of the economy of Spain. That is a lot of money that we can help. And obviously, we are speaking about more than 180,000 work placements for different people. We are direct connected with football. Around it, like restaurants, coffee shops, bed stores, all this. We don't number it like the people who is helped by football. So we are speaking about this so important. And obviously, in Spain, we used to say for the people, circus and bread. In this case, like during the next steps of the lockdown, this football can help the society to be more entertainment instead of just being alone at home.
Okay, and lastly, we're going to go and talk to our correspondent Valia in Greece. Valia, how are things in Greece for you?
Hello, Liane. Things in Greece are started going back to normal, as in Portugal too. We have started doing individual practices, just the athletes and one personal trainer. We haven't opened our gyms yet. In volleyball, the men's championship is about to start again, and as I can see here, a press release was released today saying that tomorrow they will make the final decisions on when the gyms and the championship will start. And in football, many of our teams have started practicing again, and we don't know yet if the championship is going to resume, but things are gradually going back to normal with athletes staying healthy, staying in top shape, and having several championships like the volleyball one and the football one waiting on the line to see if they are actually going to resume.
So it feels as if perhaps there's an air of positivity in Greece moving forwards. Do you think that's right?
The athletes are starting feeling optimistic about season resumption, and the leagues are trying to take all necessary precautions. And of course, they want to resume the season and get the athletes back on court.
Okay, thank you, Valia, and good luck moving forwards over in Greece. Now, in recent weeks, we've all got used to seeing online workout videos and keeping fit every day. In fact, it's become a regular part of most people's days. Exercise is playing an important role for different reasons during unsettling times. Lockdown has come with many challenges, and exercise has taken on new meaning for many. Professional netballer Yasmin Parsons has been feeling extra pressure since it all began.
To start with, I was a bit panicked because all I could think about was how I was going to maintain my fitness and my training during the lockdown period. So it has been quite difficult sometimes to motivate myself. I've actually done some live workouts with a lot of the young netballers have been tuning in and doing it with me. Keeps me going, keeps me motivated. So like you see all the other netballers doing stuff as well. It comes down to 7 players at the end of the day on the court. It would just be really nice to hug the girls again. I think just walking back out in that Surrey Storm dress will just be incredible.
We all know that children have a need to be active too. 11-year-old Charlie had been struggling with the lack of physical and social activity, but found a way to feel better.
My dad challenged me to see if I could climb the height of the Empire State Building. I worked out that it was 113 flights of stairs. As I started to do it, I felt like, oh, come on, I've got to get going. At the end, I felt so proud of myself.
13-year-old Alfie has found the routine of PE with Joe has provided much needed structure.
I get up, I have breakfast, I chill around for a little bit, and then when it turns 9 o'clock, I turn on the TV and I start the workout. I think I have just pushed through the times where I thought I don't really want to do it, and now I've got into a routine of it, and it helps me. Helps me mentally, helps me physically, helps me concentrate on my schoolwork, helps me sleep at night.
Many of us have now been working at home for weeks, but separating work and home life can prove difficult.
So my name's Emily Ford. I'm a journalist, but I'm also a yoga teacher. With the journalistic background for me, I'm surrounded by the news of what's going on all day, every day anyway. So it's learning to put that down and put it to one side, tuning into my breath and tuning into my movement. That really helps to keep me calm. So it's just getting out a bit of that energy too, because I'm a bit of a fidget bum.
It seems that exercise is important to our lockdown life, and as we now approach our new normal, it's likely that exercise will continue to play a vital role. The Solent Kestrels men's basketball team have had an outstanding season. They remain undefeated, and the BBL would be the natural next step for them. However, the Kestrels have yet to make a decision.
Playing in the BBL is the ultimate goal. The Solent Kestrels men's basketball team proved this year that they belong there. The players are ready for this challenge.
Yeah, we definitely proved that we can not only compete, but we can beat BBL teams.
The Kestrels are the NBL champions, but it takes so much more to compete to the highest level.
As far as plans for the BBL next year, with this team, we're definitely able to compete and win, but I'm not sure. That's up to us. That's out of our hands. And if we had the opportunity, I'm sure we would all say, yeah, let's play the BBL together. Like, let's go take the Kestrels to the BBL. But unfortunately, that's out of our hands.
The whole team, the whole organisation are able to compete with and probably belong at the BBL level, play against that level of competition week in, week out, is definitely something that would be interesting. But there's so many other factors around playing basketball and joining a league, joining a team to take into consideration. So as much as I'd enjoy tougher games, closer games, there's a number of other factors that come into play when looking at what to do next season.
The BBL requirement seems to be the reason why the Solent Castrals are still playing in the NBL.
Now, the BBL is a full-time professional franchised league. There are requirements for the BBL in terms of venue, in terms of seating capacity, but also you need a squad with 12 paid full-time players. There's a huge expense to that, and I think that's completely unknown to us really as a club.
The Solent Kestrels, who have beaten the Bristol Flyers.
The Solent management are still very much against it for now. They sell it out virtually every home game. They have the facilities. They have probably the best basketball court in the country, and they have the team that can compete in the BBL, but the financial side of it will always be that big burning question of whether Solent can financially compete with the BBL teams.
For Solent Sports News, Valia Pilanivi.
And that's all today for Solent Sports News. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back soon.